the activities of the Commission towards achieving its mandate. He added that the plan is anchored on 4 thematic areas of prevention, enforcement, coordination, and institutional strengthening, with 5 objectives to achieve the mission and vision of the Commission. Bamanga added that the workshop is designed to sensitize management and staff of the Commission on their responsibilities in achieving the strategic objectives contained in the plan.
So the review process was carried out to align the Commission strategic plan with the National Anti-Corruption Strategy, NAT, 2017 to 2021. NAT was launched in 2017 and all anti-corruption agencies are expected to implement certain aspects of the objectives of NAT, clinical objectives. So the review process took into consideration the strategic objectives of NAT and was completed. And also incorporated the vision of the current leadership of the Commission. We have to align the vision of the leadership with the vision of the Commission. The strategic plan is anchored on 4 thematic areas of prevention, enforcement, coordination, and institutional strengthening. When you look at Section 6 and 7 of the EFCC Establishment Act, the function of the EFCC are centered on prevention of economic and financial crimes development process.
Speaking at the end of the program, Acting Commander Benin Zonal Command Nkechi Ude expressed appreciation to the DPRS for organizing the training. She said the Commission must adopt an all-inclusive approach to ensure that all staff in the 14 zonal commands are carried along. Her counterpart in the Lagos Command, Ahmed Muhammad Gali, observed that the plan will serve as a veritable tool to measure the activities of the Commission. Participants at the workshop include the Executive Chairman Abdurrashid Ba, directors, zonal commanders, and some heads of units of the EFCC. Abbas Abubakar reporting for the Eagle.
The role of religion in the fight against corruption and other social vices cannot be overemphasized, and that's why the EFCC uses every opportunity available to it to speak and encourage religious leaders in joining the Commission to fight the menace of economic and financial crimes. As seen in this next report, where the EFCC gave a word of advice and encouragement to the Al-Habibiyah Islamic Society during the public presentation of Project Eat Halal and Sermon Guide for Imams and Scholars. Again, here are details of this.
The Executive Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Abdurrashid Bawa, has called on religious leaders to preach on the ills of corruption. The EFCC boss stated this at the public presentation of Project Eat Halal and Sermon Guide for Imams and Scholars, organized by the Just Foundation in Guzape, Abuja. Bawa, who was represented by the head of Creative Communications Unit of the Commission, Deputy Commander of the EFCC, Wanyima Okeno, said there is an urgent need to teach people in the society the ills of economic and financial crimes as it affects our daily lives. She stated that the EFCC is vested not only with the responsibility of arresting and prosecuting culprits of financial crimes, but mandated to prevent economic crimes, including corruption, by working with faith-based organizations like the Just Foundation of Al-Habibiyah.
The initiative is a very good one because the EFCC is it's not all about arrest and, like I said earlier, arrest and detention, but what they do is to encourage people to desist from corruption, and the way we do it is to integrate everyone. And what the Al-Habibiyah is doing here is trying to encourage imams to teach anti-corruption antics, because if you catch them from the churches or from the mosques, you're doing the service of enlightenment, teaching people how to eschew corruption, because that's what it's all about.
On his part, the chairman of the occasion and director MacArthur Foundation Africa Office, Dr. Kole Shetima, expressed his delight at the launch of Sermon Guide, saying the book will serve as a guideline to imams, leaders, and scholars on how to interact with people and will also be an instrument to guide how the work should be done. Also speaking, Ustaz Abubakar Sadiq Muhammad, Managing Director, Comerel Travel, said the Sermon Guide was published to serve as guide to imams in teaching Muslim faithfuls in contemporary issues including corruption. Abbas Abubakar reporting for The Eagle.
If you're just joining us, the program is The Eagle, a production of the Public Affairs Department of the EFCC. Next are court updates. Please stay tuned.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has rearranged two British nationals, James Richard Nolan and Adam Quinn, at large before Justice D.U. Okorowa of the Federal High Court, Abuja, for their alleged complicity in the controversial Process and Industrial Development Gas Processing contract, leading to the $9.6 billion arbitral award to P&ID Limited by a United Kingdom commercial court. The defendants, both directors of Goidel Resources Limited, a designated non-financial institution DNFI, and ISIL Limited, were docked on a 32-count charge bordering on money laundering. After the charges were read to them, the third defendant, James Richard Nolan, pleaded not guilty to the charges. Adam Quinn, who is at large, was not available to take his plea, but prosecuting counsel Ekele Iheanacho requested that his plea be recorded as guilty, which the judge granted. In view of Nolan's not guilty plea, Iheanacho asked the court for a trial date. However, defense counsel Michael Ajara applied to the court for the defendant to continue enjoying the bail granted to him by Justice Okon Abang, which the prosecuting counsel did not oppose. Justice Okorowa thereafter adjourned the matter till December 13, 2021 for commencement of trial. Abbas Abubakar reporting for The Eagle.
Pretending to be someone you're not can get you into trouble. You could face legal and financial consequences for years to come, and your reputation in the community would take a big hit as well. This crime goes by many names, whether it false impersonation, false personation, or criminal impersonation. It is a very serious offense. In many cases, it's a felony. It is closely linked to identity theft that the two crimes are considered one and the same in some crimes. Impersonation is regarded as the act of pretending to be someone else with intent to mislead or deceive. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has a unit which investigates this kind of offense. Let's join Ojotoktame Eche and our guests from the Advanced Fee Fraud Unit in the interview segment as they discuss impersonation and all we need to know about it. Over to you, Ojotoktame.
We're glad to have you on this segment of the program today. My name is Ojotoktame Eche, and I'm here with Daniel Nwaka. He is the second-in-command cybercrime section of the EFCC headquarters. Mr. Nwaka, welcome on the program.
Welcome, thank you.
Let's start from the very beginning. We're talking the evil and consequences of impersonation. So let's know the meaning of impersonation. What exactly does it mean?
Impersonation comes in two different types or ways. There's the normal impersonation, which is done for entertainment purposes. For example, you can go on Facebook and you can see people that claim to be the late Chief of Staff, Dr. Abakari. Some people say they are the late Chukwemeka Ojukwu. So those are for entertainment purposes. And most of them have parody accounts. Those are accounts that people know that they're not the real people, but just for entertainment. Then there's criminal impersonation, in which people assume the identities of other people in order to perpetrate fraud. So, in a layman's term, criminal impersonation is assuming the identity of another person in order to perpetrate fraud.
How is impersonation an economic or a financial crime? Because this is the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, and you deal in impersonation as well.
Yes, we do.
So how does impersonation concern you?
Impersonation most times doesn't stand on its own. When you impersonate a person, you are doing it in order to obtain funds or goods illicitly or fraudulently from another person. So that is, impersonation piggybacks on another major or economic or financial crime to be done.
In what ways can someone impersonate another person or an entity, maybe another body, for instance?
Okay, you can open a Facebook account and say you are the EFCC, and then collect monies from people in order to investigate their cases, which is not something the EFCC does. But when you collect monies from an individual in order to investigate a case on his behalf, when you're not even a staff or a member of the EFCC, that is impersonation in itself. I can open an Instagram account or a Twitter account or any account and just say, okay, I'm President Muhammadu Buhari. I put his picture as my display picture, and I tell people, I'm looking for ministers in my cabinet. I need you to pay 10 million naira to be considered a minister in my cabinet. Some people might be gullible enough to fall for that, and once they pay money to the person claiming to be President Muhammadu Buhari, then the fraud has been committed via the impersonation. Impersonation doesn't require a system or a laptop or any form of electronics. You can go to a market woman selling on the road and tell her you represent a bank, and your bank is giving out loans to people on the streets, but you need them to facilitate that loan. And you might tell them, facilitate with 5,000 naira, facilitate with 1,000 naira, and if you collect 1,000 naira from 100 people, that's 100,000 naira. So if you impersonated a bank or any entity to the layman, and you've benefited X amount from the person. But the man on the street can impersonate another person. We've had cases of exams like JAMB and SSE for someone writing exams for another person. That in itself is impersonation. We have cases of people pretending to be the firstborn sons or firstborn children of a particular family in order to get the person's inheritance. That is impersonation too. So it doesn't have to be restricted to computers or social.
Let's look at Section 22 of the Cybercrimes Prohibition and Prevention Act of 2015 and try to interpret it a bit. The first subsection says, any person who is engaged in the services of any financial institution and as a result of his special knowledge commits identity theft of its employer, staff, service providers and consultants with the intent to defraud is guilty of an offense. What exactly does this subsection mean?
This is in plain text. Anybody or any person that works for a company and uses the company's identity without consent of the company to get money from any other person without the permission of the company is perpetrating impersonation. For example, I say I'm an EFCC staff and I go to even investigate a case that has not been assigned to me by the chairman. I'm impersonating because I wasn't given that particular task by the office.
Wow.
Yeah, so if I'm a First Bank staff and I go and tell somebody First Bank is giving out loans, but you need to facilitate the loans with X amount of money, and I collect it without even having the mandate of First Bank, I'm committing impersonation.
Another clause says, any person who fraudulently or dishonestly makes use of the electronic signature, password, or any other unique identification feature of any other person, and it goes on and on. Electronic signature, what does it mean?
Electronic signatures, we all have our signatures. Some people, for convenience, have their signatures on their systems. So, rather than signing 100 signatures on certificates that I want to give out, maybe I do a course and 100 participants, and I don't have the time to sign 100 signatures. I just have it on my system, and I can just put my electronic signature on each of the certificates. But if there are 100 people that participated, and there's 101 certificates, then the facilitator fraudulently obtains my electronic signature and puts it on the 101th certificate. He has impersonated my person.
Claiming to be you.
Claiming to be me. So that other person that has that extra one certificate has forged it and has also impersonated my person by claiming to be me.
Exactly is the difference in this case between forgery and impersonation? What is the thin line between them?
Forgery, impersonation for starters, is claiming to be another person. But forgery has to do more with documents.
Okay.
So when there's a document, when you present a document that is not authentic, that is forgery.
Evil and consequences of impersonation. How does impersonation affect the perpetrator, the society, and of course, the country at large?
The impersonator negatively doesn't really get affected by the impersonation because he stands to gain. That is why he is doing it.
What about if the law comes after him?
Well, for starters, he stands to gain, but when the law catches up with him, he goes to prison. And it's an offense. The impersonation itself is an offense. So when the law catches up with him, he has to go to prison. For the country at large, you and I do legitimate business. But if somebody impersonates another person and then gains monies or funds, it affects us negatively because most of these people that even do these impersonations are not really working for their money. So it's affecting us that are hardworking citizens. Economically, the prices of things go up because there's more money in the market. The law of demand and supply is affected, and those of us that are doing our legitimate businesses have more things to pay for because of what other people are doing negatively.
Then let's look at the punishment for impersonation. What does the law stipulate?
The law stipulates 3 years just for impersonation.
3 years in
3 years
jail,
in prison just for impersonation. So if you impersonate Mr. X and gain money from a person claiming to be Mr. X, the law says for the impersonation alone is 3 years. Then for the crime of obtaining under false pretense, which is pretending to be somebody else, is another jail term. So most times it is added to the 3 years.
Mr. Daniel Nwaka, in fighting this crime, what challenges does the EFCC face as a body?
We face a lot of problems from the public. The public sees the EFCC as fighting one set of people and not attending to another set of people. They fail to realize that some investigations are short and some investigations take a lot of time. The EFCC deals with all cases that are brought to it, but the case of impersonation most times happen immediately. The cases of cyber crimes most times happen immediately, and we go after these people and get them convicted. The other cases that people tend to talk about on social media, those cases take a lot of time to investigate, and you have my word that officers are investigating these issues, and when in the due time or due course, these convictions or whatever the findings are will be revealed to the public.
As we come to the end of the segment of the program, Mr. Nwaka, what's your word of advice to Nigerians listening to you right now?
Please shun cybercrimes. Please shun any form of get-rich scheme. Please do not deceive other people to send you monies, be it in Nigeria or abroad. Let us be our brother's keepers.
Well, as rightly stated by Daniel Nwaka, shun cybercrime, shun all forms of get-rich-quick scheme, don't deceive people, and be your brother's keeper, so that we all can have a corrupt-free society to better our country, Nigeria. Remember, Nigeria is the only country we have, and we all have to salvage it. Investing your resources today for a better tomorrow is what everyone prays for. But as you do this, the EFCC want to sound this note of caution. Be careful who you give your money to invest for you. This is a scam alert. Scammers are on the loose in every part of the country in these hard times. Every day, men and women are defrauded by those they trust, who you use all forms of devious means in the name of investing platforms. Be careful what type of investment scheme you subscribe to. And if you have fallen victim into the hands of any investment scammer or suspect anyone or involving in investment scam, please report to the EFCC immediately. And that's how we end today's episode of The Eagle. Do not forget, for matters relating to economic and financial crimes, please send an email to info@efcc.gov.ng. And to speak to our representatives, you can call 0809 3322 644 and follow us on all our social media platforms at Official EFCC. If you see fraud happening, use the EFCC mobile app, The Eagle Eye. Download the app, follow the steps, and report fraud on the go. You can also take pictures of corrupt practices and upload them. My name is Aisha Muhammad. As usual, I leave you with these parting words from Zig Ziglar, which says, "With integrity, you have nothing to fear, since you have nothing to hide. With integrity, you will do the right thing, so you will have no guilt." So, supporting the truth, even when it is unpopular, shows the capacity for honesty and integrity. Do the right thing always. Goodbye. God bless Nigeria. Please stay safe and be kind to one another.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
There is an epidemic affecting individuals in every community, regardless of age, economic status, gender, race, religion, or nationality. It is called domestic violence. It can take a number of forms, including physical, verbal, emotional, economic, religious, or sexual abuse. The ultimate aim of domestic violence is to gain and maintain total control over its victim. Domestic violence does not discriminate. It happens among people of all ages, ethnic background, and economic levels. While women are more commonly victimized, men are also abused, especially verbally and emotionally, although sometimes even physically as well. Unfortunately, domestic violence is among the most underreported crimes worldwide for both men and women. An abuser doesn't play fair. He or she uses fear, guilt, shame, and intimidation to wear down his or her victims and keep them perpetually under his or her control. Abusers may often seem wonderful and perfect initially, but gradually become more aggressive and controlling as the relationship continues. Here are some signs of abusive tendencies: showing jealousy of the victim's family and friends, accusing victim of cheating, controlling who the victim sees, where they go, or what they do, preventing the victim from making his or her own decision, intimidating the victim with guns, knives, or other weapons. Noticing and acknowledging the signs of an abusive relationship is the first step to ending it. Therefore, abusive behavior is never acceptable, whether it is coming from a man or a woman, a teenager or an older adult. We all deserve to be valued, respected, and safe.
Wannan labarin ma yana peji na 36.
Ita kuma babban labarin wannan jarida shine ainihin
labarin da ke gaban jarida shine ta bayyana cewa
ọkwa ji Ikenga eziokwu
nwanne m nwoke
Ikechukwu Ndukwe Igbo
mam iji wee mee ka ụbọchị na-aga n'anya ya
Ọjọ́tutù léwútẹ́lú nù.
Nation fún ti òwúrọ̀ yìí ibẹ̀ náà ti sọ pé àwọn ìgbìmọ̀ aláṣẹ ìpínlẹ̀ Benue pàṣẹ wípé
ní gbogbo àwọn ẹ̀ka, ní ẹ̀ka ètò ẹ̀kọ́, ní ẹ̀ka ètò ìlera, ní ẹ̀ka ètò ààbò.
Information is power. Everyone wants power.
So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the U Report link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links.
Hello, thanks for joining us. This is Nationwide. I'm Ruth Aguela. Let's start by telling you that President Muhammadu Buhari this Monday unveiled the e-Naira, Africa's first central bank digital currency. The digital currency will play a complementary role to the paper notes, and President Buhari is optimistic that concerns like hyperinflation and strain on the nation's foreign reserves would be controlled.
Digital currencies can help move away more people and businesses from the informal into the formal sector, thereby creating the tax base of the country.
The CBN has given careful consideration to the entire payment and financial architecture and has designed the e-Naira to complement and strengthen these ecosystems and have implemented secure safeguards and policies to maintain the integrity of the financial system.
Benefits of the e-Naira have been identified to include low transaction fees, zero charges on wallet-to-wallet transfers, reliable transaction processing and instant settlement, as well as reduced operating cost for merchants that come in form of cash handling and payroll management. And on analysis on that, let's bring you an excerpt now from NTA's business experts. Musa had a discussion with a guest, Toyin Alassi, on the unveiled central bank digital currency. Let's see how that went.
Action today will center on ongoing conversations at the 27th Nigerian Economic Summit, which evolves around arriving at strategies for economic recovery and sustainable growth, in addition to financial inclusion, as the president just moments ago launched Nigeria's digital currency, the e-Naira. To do justice to that, it's Toyin Alassi. Joining me is Toyin Alassi, a former banker and now a CEO of MoneyWise Investments. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, it has been long awaited, and the president has now, the e-Naira has become operational.
Yes, sir.
So what does this mean for the country's payment system?
Well, what this means for me, from my perspective, is that the country's payment system again has, set forth a standard in Africa again, because Nigeria, as you know, is the first country in Africa to launch its digital currency, which is a very major feat, particularly for the fact that not a lot of countries in the world have launched their digital currency. So it's a major feat, and what this means for the payment system is that it strengthens it more, and it also builds confidence in Nigeria's payment system.
Okay, what other advantage do we hope to see in this?
With the e-Naira, there's a lot of advantages. Okay. First of all, the cash management costs for the country is reduced, because now you don't have to consistently produce cash or destroy cash, which is usually a lot of cost. As a matter of fact, in the last 5 years, Nigeria spent over 307 billion on cash production and processing. So this just means that that particular cost is eliminated to a major limit. Also, the e-Naira is cheaper. When you're looking at the individuals, for example, it's cheaper for us to transact, it's faster, So I remember when I was at the bank, there used to be cases where banks didn't have cash to meet customers' needs. All of those things are now eliminated. So there's nothing like there's no cash available. I can easily move my money from cash to the e-Naira wallet, and I can still do transactions without hitches.
Now another thing is awareness. You know, those sellers, you know, the issue of awareness, you get it, where they will now understand, okay, you don't need physical cash, because Nigeria has this idea of, I mean, we have this, we must use cash, you have to get cash and things like that. So what do we do about awareness?
Yeah, the CBN, and along with other stakeholders, which includes the banks, the merchants, will have to put a lot of resources and time into education to create awareness, because when I was looking at the launch and what the comments online, I saw that a lot of people still don't understand how to download an app, set up your account, and all those basic things. So a lot of focus will have to go into education, which the CBN, I see they're trying to do a lot. But banks, I also see a lot of banks have the details on their platforms. A lot of people have enrolled. Interestingly, the huge visit to the platform, to the website, is quite encouraging. So over time, with a consistent education and information being released concerning the operations, I'm sure a lot of people will catch up, particularly when it's cheaper. People want cheaper options all the time.
Do you see that leading to inclusion, financial inclusion?
Yeah, eventually. When the e-Naira eventually evolves to the USSD method, I see it reaching to other, to the banks. Majorly, because right now with an app that requires an internet, it's still limited to the banks and maybe people who have access to internet. So if we're going to achieve a lot of financial inclusion, it will have to deal with the challenges of the limitations of internet and also illiteracy. So the USSD option, which is available for transfers basically with the normal Naira, will be a major step in the right direction, and it's been mentioned that the e-Naira will evolve to that.
Okay, the slogan is same Naira, more possibilities. What in your own view would you like to see?
All right, there, Musa, having a discussion on the e-Naira on NTA's Business Express. President Muhammadu Buhari has formally declared open the 27th Nigerian Economic Summit in Abuja. Represented by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, the President said the Economic Sustainability Plan is yielding results, and the federal government plans a broad-based and inclusive economic plan for sustainable growth and development. Benny Adams reports that the plan is consistent with government's aim to lift 100 million citizens out of poverty in 10 years.
This 27th edition of the Nigerian Economic Summit, which is an assemblage of national as well as global leaders in economics and politics. It is all about rebuilding economies from the effects of COVID-19. Countries globally have their eyes fixed on the speed and also the process of recovery, and Nigeria is not left out of it.
The federal government is responding to the challenges and opportunities of the moment by articulating forward-thinking policies and strategies and implementing the coherent, clear, and consistent set of actions in order to achieve our desired objectives.
Ethiopia has given the highest priority to promoting inclusive agricultural transformation by means of allocating at least 17% of its annual budget to invest in irrigation, extension services, by deploying around 60,000 extension agents, and agricultural research for improved and climate resilient crop varieties. In addition, credit facilities, subsidization of inputs such as fertilizers and improved seeds were readily available.
Let us again envisage a future with economic growth led by a thriving, innovative private sector, resulting in a diversified economy with the non-air taxes as a major source of income, and the non-air sector driving export expansion and accelerating and accelerating the accretion to our foreign reserves.
And we have the theme of this as securing our future, the fierce urgency of now. We have like 29 sub-teams where national and global economic leaders will be brainstorming. We hope that at the end of the day, a policy statement will be made where government can adopt and move on from where we are today.
In Abuja, Ben Adams, NTA News.
In the build-up to the 2023 general elections, President Muhammadu Buhari is urging foreign envoys in Nigeria to be strictly guided by diplomatic practices towards ensuring that their activities remain within the limits of their official responsibilities. Now, this was while receiving letters of credence from several ambassadors and high commissioners posted to Nigeria on tour of duty. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Those that presented their letters of credence were the ambassadors of Japan, European Union, Burundi, Denmark, Finland, Ireland, Cape Verde, Qatar and France, as well as the high commissioners of Sierra Leone and Ghana. Formally welcoming the envoys to Abuja, President Muhammadu Buhari, however, reminded them that they are assuming official responsibilities in Nigeria at a very interesting political period.
Nigeria's national elections are due in early 2023. The momentum for enhanced political activities is therefore expected to commence soon. The nature of our politician often gives the impression of very rancorous engagements. It is the nature of politics here. Besides, democracy and related democratic activities in the build-up to elections are necessarily rowdy and very argumentative, but very much within the limits of freedom of action that the art of democracy permits. As you settle down in the face of these developments, it is my hope that you will ensure that your activities remain within the limits of your profession.
The president also expressed the hope that as they settle down to promote unity, amity, better economic opportunities, and the pursuit of peace between their respective countries and Nigeria, the envoys will also make it a point of duty to appreciate the nation's diversity as a source of pride and strength.
As a government and as a nation, we continue to make steady progress despite daunting challenges, notably in the area of security. We need more partnership to fully overcome these challenges, and I hope that Nigeria can count on broader collaboration with your countries to attain the desired level of peace in our country and sub-region.
While wishing the new envoys successful tenure in the country, President Buhari looks forward to a more robust relationship with each of their countries as Nigeria is open to more foreign direct investments in education, health, transportation, and agricultural sectors. The new Japanese ambassador to Nigeria, Masunaga Kazuyoshi, responded on behalf of the new envoys.
It would also be an honor for us during our tour of duty to explore ways that we can work together to defeat the COVID-19 pandemic and other related issues of mutual interest.
All the new ambassadors and high commissioners were earlier on arrival at the Nigerian seat of government treated to a befitting diplomatic welcome by officers and soldiers of the Presidential Guards Brigade. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari will today depart for Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, to participate in the investment conference organized by the Future Investment Initiative Institute. The president will be joined at the 5th edition of the event by business executives from Nigeria, bankers, captains of industry and energy experts to discuss issues on the future of investments across the globe. The three-day event with the theme Investment in Humanity will host global executives and asset managers and deliberate on progress and prosperity in energy, true final frontiers and investments, science and action, and impact of climate change on communities, among others. The president will be accompanied on the trip by the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Ni Adebayo, Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Zubairu Dada, Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipre Silva, Director General of National Intelligence Agency, Ambassador Ahmed Rufai Abubakar, and Managing Director of Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, Uche Orji. Others on the entourage are Alhaji Mohammed Indimi, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, Tokbe Shonubri, Wale Tinubu, Alhaji Abdul Samad Rabiu, Hassan Usman, Omoboyo De Olusonya, Abubakar Suleiman, Herbert Wigwe, Leo Stan Eke, Alan Seafield, and Alhaji Dahiru Mangal. Before returning to the country on Friday, President Buhari will perform the Lesser Hajj in Medina and Makkah. On the foreign scene, Sudan's military has dissolved civilian rule, arrested political leaders, and declared a state of emergency in the country. The Sudanese Ministry of Culture and Information said the joint military forces had placed Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok under house arrest and pressured him to release a pro-coup statement. After refusing to endorse the coup, reports said Mr. Hamdok was moved to an unknown location. The military also detained several top cabinet members and civilian members of the Transitional Sovereignty Council. General Abdel Fattah Burhan, who had been heading a joint council with civilian leaders, said the military will continue with the democratic transition until the handover to the elected civilian government. He said the 2019 agreement on the transitional government with balanced power between the civilian and military leadership, which had turned into a struggle that was threatening peace and security. Protesters have taken to the streets of the capital, Khartoum, and there are reports of gunfire. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, has accused a London-based newspaper, The Economist, of bias in its assessment of the security situation in Nigeria. Let's get details from Iyeri John.
Statement, the presidential advisor agreed that The Economist is correct in noting that Nigeria faces 4 key threats to the stability and prosperity of the nation, namely ISWAP, Boko Haram terrorism in the northeast, kidnapping and crime in the northwest, header-farmer disputes in the central belt, and the delusions of IPOP terrorists in the southeast. He also agreed that The Economist is accurate to state that the situation has come to a head under President Buhari and the All Progressives Congress APC administration. Garba Shehu, however, explained that the previous administrations, whether military or democratic, could not tackle the situation head-on. He affirmed that today the story is different as the identified threats are being fought concurrently and yielding results. He said the Buhari administration has sought to push back terrorism, which has been a threat for more than 2 decades since the first emergence of Boko Haram, adding that it is only the Buhari administration that has now sought to intervene against the kidnapping and banditry that has been a simmering threat for so long. The statement also notes that it is only President Buhari that has taken on IPOB, the violent terrorist group which bombs police stations and offices of security agencies. Garba Shehu stressed that presently the military is engaged in almost all the states of the country because the president has insisted on addressing these perennial issues during his time in office. The presidential aide noted that bandits were inaccurately described by The Economist as those who have the resources and technology to shoot down a military fighter jet and not bandits at all, but rather highly organized crime syndicates with huge resources and weaponry. Garba Shehu assured that it will take time, but the president is unwavering in his determination to collapse these security challenges.
A UK aid-funded program, PropCom Makerfi, says it will continue to help smallholder farmers in Nigeria's rural communities for efficient results in its agricultural investment and inclusive market growth promotion. At an event in Abuja, the organizers say the fund has supported more than 1 million women and men in the northern part of the country to generate more than 37 billion naira income in 9 years. Participants that include representatives of UK government, donor agencies and the Deputy Governor of Jigawa State, Alhaji Umar Namadi, said the program targeted market systems with opportunities for poor farmers and also helped to build their capacity in climate-smart agriculture to boost productivity and production. We're heading to Lagos. Adiola is set to bring us what she has for us there.
Thank you, Ruth. Reducing Nigeria's quest for foreign and domestic borrowing to implement statutory obligations proposed in the 2022 budget estimate of 16.39 trillion naira depends largely on improvement of revenue generation. Financial experts say the volatility in global oil price and uncertainty in the capital markets are realities that should spur the nation's drive for more revenue earnings to realize her objectives. Abolade Salami reports.
In retrospect to the 2020 budget estimate of 10.805 trillion naira approved for spending, the federal government projected the sum of 8.155 trillion naira as revenue representing 7% or 561.2 billion naira higher than 2019 aggregates, meaning that about 43.86% capital to operate the budget was expected to come from oil revenue, while the balance is to be derived from the non-oil sector.
This year, we are in the month of October. The figures that we have at the end of August, for example, we have achieved about 75% in quite a number of areas of our budget implementation.
Christened Budget of Economic Growth and Sustainability, the 2022 estimate of 16.39 trillion naira based on fiscal assumption is estimated to bring to the federal government coffers an estimate of 17.70 trillion naira in the fiscal year and a total estimate of 10.13 trillion naira to fund the 2022 fiscal expenditure. To realize these assumptions on the budget, economic players submitted that there is an urgent need for the country to drift away from our poor tax to GDP collection.
And if our revenues are 8% of GDP and our expenditure is 12%, it then figures that that extra 4% is coming from borrowing. That's, so that's the situation, but we can't continue that way.
The measures and strategies adopted by the federal government to improve revenue mobilization towards sustainable performance in 2022 with the goal of achieving enhanced tax and excise revenues through policy reforms and tax administration have been identified as realistic to sustainable growth. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
The efforts of the federal government to stimulate the growth of small and medium-scale enterprises will be result-oriented if standard specifications are known and jealously guided by all Nigerians. The Director General of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, Farouk Salim, stated this in Lagos during a road walk against substandard goods in the Nigerian markets. Michael Olaleye reports.
Standards, they say, is sacred due to its indispensability to health, security, and wellness of any society. Apart from losing more than 15 billion naira annually to fake products, Nigeria has worrisome tales to tell when it comes to the deaths of many industries occasioned by influx of substandard products. Desirous to change the trend informed this work to commemorate Standards Day. It is not just about the work, but the energy and zeal to put an end to the production, manufacturing, and importation of fake products, which the Standards Organization of Nigeria wants the citizens to replicate. The Director General noted that fake products thrive when people buy things below standard or are not aware of product specifications, which the SON is out to educate Nigerians.
Without standards, there won't be factories. Without factories, there won't be jobs. And without jobs, there will not be peace. And the only way we will work is by making sure we educate the people of the importance of standards and then protect the people from people who don't want to follow the standards.
The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission is complementing the role of SON, but the emphasis here is about consumers protecting their rights and discouraging monopolistic markets.
The criticality of what you do, especially with respect to standards, is completely highlighted by the reality of our markets.
The work is a follow-up to the agency's target of getting rid of fake and substandard products, having sanitized the lubricants and steel markets to an extent. In Lagos, Michael Lale, NTA News.
Abubakar in Maiduguri will bring us a next set of reports on Nationwide after this break. Please stay.
Government, through NPHCDA, commenced Phase 2 vaccination of all persons 18 years and above with safe and effective COVID-19 vaccines approved by WHO and certified by NAFDAC. Special arrangement has been made for staff, their dependents and retirees of ministries, departments and agencies of government, private corporate organizations and non-governmental organizations. To benefit from this special arrangement, visit www.nphcda.gov.ng/corporate vaccination/ to obtain, fill and submit the Google form. NPHCDA will contact you within 48 hours. Protect yourself, your family and your workplace against COVID-19. COVID-19 vaccines are free, safe and effective. For further inquiries, call 0700-220-1122 or send a mail to covid19.vaccination@nphcda.gov.ng. This message is from the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency.
When you think about hospitality and affordable luxury away from home, then you talk about Sharon Ultimate Hotels, a secured and serene environment that offers kingly services such as 24-hour room service, impeccable security with CCTV surveillance, parking lots, free Wi-Fi internet service, free complimentary breakfast, restaurants that offers continental and local dishes, well-equipped fitness center with instructors, swimming pool, 350 capacity multi-purpose hall, laundry service, pastry corner, mini mart, and our suites are breathtaking. For reservation, locate us at plot 1710, Tafawa Balewa Way, Area 3, Garikia, Abuja. Sharon Ultimate Hotels, the ultimate place.
History is history, so either you know it or you don't.
My advice to the younger generation is that they should learn from what we have started and what we have left.
I did things that ordinarily I should not have been doing. What that meant was that I was working hard.
Whatever assignment you are given in life, put in your best.
The military years were a disaster.
Smoldering effects of all that is what we are trying to cure.
Thanks for staying with us on Nationwide on the Nigerian Television Authority. And this is Maiduguri Zonal Network Center. Let's begin with security matters. Towards enhancing interagency synergy in the ongoing counter-insurgency operations, 7th Division, Nigerian Army and Sector 1 Operation Hadinkai have organized a maiden combined interagency route march within the city center of Maiduguri. Memuna Garba completes the story.
The route march, which was held Saturday morning, kick-started from 7th Division Garrison through Baga Road, Post Office area down to Government House Runabout and ended at the 7th Division Wharf Officers' Mess. Military and paramilitary personnel, including members of the civilian JTF and hunters, among other local security outfits, as well as members of the National Youth Service Corps, attended the route march. Walking through the routes in the metropolis, the exercise is an indication that the are ever ready to work as a team and capable of giving the citizenry the needed security. Addressing security personnel after the route march, General Officer Commanding 7th Division and Commander Sector 1 Operation Hadin Kai, Brigadier General Abdul Wahab Eyitayo said the exercise was in line with the Chief of Army Staff's vision and that of the Chief of Defense Staff, as they are all pursuing a common goal of ending the security challenge in the state.
When you train together, when you now find yourself in the field, it's not difficult for you to be able to see yourself as colleagues, contemporaries, friends, and people that you can have trust in.
Other heads of security agencies commended the initiative and are sure to cooperate amongst themselves for the citizenry to enjoy lasting peace.
In fighting this insurgency and terrorism, we are collaborating and we are just one. We are focused and we are going to defeat the enemies.
Peace is returning to our state. The army have done a very great work. All the security agents are doing great work.
The route march is expected to be a continuous exercise. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
And still on issues concerning security, police officers and men of Borno State have been warned to desist from any corrupt practice in the course of duty. Borno State Commissioner of Police handed down the warning at the maiden conference of Police Commissioner with superior police officers held at the command headquarters in Maiduguri. Here again is Maimuna Garba with the rest of the story.
The CP's conference was a fallout of the IGP's conference recently held in Abuja, where the Inspector General of Police, Alkali Usman Baba, handed down series of directives to commissioners of police to implement in their various commands. The Commissioner of Police informed the superior police officers that the IGP has seriously warned against bribe and extortion and directed them to reinvigorate monitoring unit to monitor incivility to members of the public, reiterating that bail remains free. CP Abdul Umar enjoined the SPOs to identify genuine individuals in the community and partner them for proper policing and stressed that cases of armed robbery, rape and counterfeit should be transferred to the state CID. He disclosed that local training and retraining of personnel will be conducted regularly for them to discharge their duties effectively.
I want you to make it mandatory that every week in your division you must engage your policemen by giving them lectures on what to do and what not to do.
To ensure personnel of the command are alive to their responsibilities, CP Abdul Umar promised to reward hardworking and dedicated policemen. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
You're still on to Nationwide on the Nigerian Television Authority. It's now time to return to Ruth in Abuja for more stories for us this evening. So, Ruth.
Thank you very much, Abubakar. President Muhammadu Buhari felicitates with Sir Chief Celestine Osim Tawo as he turns 80. The president salutes the many decades put into national service and development by the respected South leader, who had variously served as commissioner in Cross River State, board director of Federal Mortgage Bank, community leader, and the Knight of the Order of St. John International. He lauds the contributions of Sir Tawo to the peace that currently subsists in the Niger Delta region, urging him to continue deploying his influence and wisdom to the sustainability of amity and concord in the area and the country at large. President Buhari greets the entire Tawo family, their friends and associates, praying for longer life and good health for the celebrant as he continues to serve God and humanity. Also, President Muhammadu Buhari felicitates with media entrepreneur, business mogul and politician High Chief Dr. Raymond DOKPESI as he celebrates his 70th birthday. The president salutes the extraordinary courage displayed by the communications guru in launching into an uncertain territory, blazing the trail in private media broadcasting and in the process creating jobs and opportunities for Nigerians, a feat that others have since followed. President Buhari joins the family, friends, and the media industry in celebrating the founder of Dar Communications, owner of AIT Ray Power broadcasting stations, urging him to continue to use his platforms for the enlightenment of Nigerians, as well as forging unity and cohesion in the country. He prays that Almighty God will bless him with good health and longer life in the service of humanity. Let's talk art. They say art is life, right? And art has been an important part of human experience for the time out of mind. The first records of the world are not written in books, actually. They are mostly captured in paintings, sculptures, music, and more. That helps to create an imagination. So as the world marks International Artists' Day, observed every 25th October, which is today, we want to look at art, how it has reshaped the world, missing links and best practices for overall development. We have in the studio Mr. Tijani Adinoyi, an artist and historian. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, first of all, we must commend artists for their contributions, bringing out to life their mind-blowing imaginations. But this year's World Artists' Day, what is it saying to us as a people?
Art as a means of communication, of course, because people said it's history, but because we create picture from where others are not seeing it.
Yes.
So that is what an artist is. And today being a World Artists' Day, so we want to link artists to the society so that they too can feel part of what we are contributing to the society. Because an artist is not an ordinary person. We're one of the creation that can think out of the box. I think we looked at ourselves and an extraordinarily created human being that everything we do is special. We don't think the same way other people think. We don't do things the same ordinary other people think. So that is an artist for you. So by going by this day of an artist day, so we want a situation where people should, the society should relate with us. You understand what we are. The government should know us. You understand how we think. That is, today we want the society to link with artists so that we can develop the community together.
And of course, there's no development if peace doesn't thrive. So how can we use art, to promote peace and address insecurity we're faced with as a nation?
Funny enough and good enough. And if artists are not violent, generally, you cannot. If you arrest 100 or 1,000 thug or miscreant or anyhow, check them. None of them will be an artist because we think beyond destroying. So everything, if you see an artist produce some work, sometimes they produce it in a way to speak peace. Their color, their choice of this thing, we produce things that speak peace.
And every artwork, I understand, tells a story.
Yes. That is why if you have an artwork in your house, it's not like a book. You can't end the reading. You can't finish it. Your children will come and start reading it too. Every piece of art is a book that is beyond reading. It tells story. It is an history. It cures. It's a medical material. But I don't know whether you know about this medical art. So it's a medical material. It heals. So every artwork has a lot of things embedded in it.
More like therapeutic?
Yes.
Okay.
The choice of color, it can treat you. Some make you happy. There's no piece of work that will make you sad.
Okay, and we saw the COVID-19 pandemic, shut down the sector a bit. If we want to look at it restoring, coming back to normal, there's a whole lot that is yet untapped in the art world. How can we create a visibility, for artists in Nigeria to make that sector the #1 in Nigeria?
That is another story altogether, because artists are not being respected in Nigerian community and society. We are not being given a chance, but all artists beg for is enabling environment. Because if you take the percentage of an artist, graduating artist or thereabout professional, they are not government workers. 80% of them are individual, self-employed. So, and they too have gone to employ in the community. So, when you talk about this COVID-19 of 15, yes, after it, artists are doing things, even the syllabus that were coming out in all sorts of other festivals, they keep telling you artwork aftermath of COVID-19. The artists are thinking beyond even COVID-19. Okay. After that, what do we do to go into the society again, to be accepted, and to take our color serious, to take our pencil line serious, to take our sculpture serious? A lot of things, and we beg. And there was a time like that when government said every other building, public building, an artist must be involved.
Okay. You know, it's a collaborative effort. We have a role to play. Thank you very much to Gianni Adinoe. He's an artist and historian. Let's support art. Buy a painting, buy a book. You never can tell. All right, let's move on to other issues. Residents and road users in Gwarimpa Housing Estate have appealed to the Federal Capital Territory Authority to, as a matter of concern, address the recurrent challenge posed by potholes, littering the access gate and causing untold hardship to the people. Eliasu Onotu Yakubu brings us a situation report.
Although most of the road users would not speak on camera, but their lamentations are the same. 3 out of the access roads into and out of Gwarimpa Housing Estate are nightmares, especially during rush hours, morning and night. The situation is worse in rainy seasons, be it at the Federal Housing Gate or Gwarimpa main entrance.
I know that frequently I'm seeing FEMA on the road trying to repair it, but 2 months later, the road is bad again.
At the Abuja Model City Gate, traffic here resulting from potholes knows no rush hour.
But for respite, Abdullahi Abubakar here is one on a voluntary service, and he says his motivating factor is part of efforts to support security operatives who are always here day and night in order to ensure that there is free flow of traffic, irrespective of the situation with the road here.
I do it to support them and contribute to Nigeria's growth.
Traffic managers adduce the build-up of traffic at such locations during rush hours to the impatience of some drivers who are in the habit of reckless and uncoordinated maneuver.
A little patience. On the part of all road users that are using those areas, we desire that they exercise some patience as the staff deployed to those locations are managing the traffic.
Once you have a bad situation ahead of you, what you need to do is to slow down and see how you can enter it where the traffic is not heavy.
They urge the authorities to give necessary attention to such failed portions across the city for ease of traffic management. Eliasu Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
Our next stop will be Port Harcourt. Let's join BUHARI there.
Thank you, Ruth, and welcome to Port Harcourt. As government at all levels strive towards improving the health sector, emphasis has been placed on prompt routine immunization against hepatitis B, as it is rated as one of the leading childhood killer diseases. This is just as medical experts do for stiffer measures to curb excesses of unauthorized health personnel on drug prescriptions and treatment. Ijoma Ogweke reports.
Hepatitis is a viral infection that affects the liver. Types ranges from hepatitis B and C and are said to be more common and responsible for liver-related diseases. Symptoms, according to experts, are fever, headache, loss of appetite, yellow eyes, weakness, sleep disturbances, and coloration of the skin. In children, it can cause weakness and weight loss.
It can affect the brain, where the person might be behaving abnormal or responding abnormal and might not even comply with the instruction, especially when the virus has invaded the brain cells. The treatment is poor, and the compliance is also poor because at that point in time, the drug of choice for virus that causes hepatitis infection, which is a double-stranded DNA virus, the drug of choice is not available for now.
As a vaccine preventive disease, emphasis are placed on immunization at birth, and adults who could not take as infants in case of an outbreak, as hepatitis B is contagious.
Someone can get it from body fluids like sweat, saliva, unprotected sexual intercourse with someone who has it, and if the other partner is unvaccinated, can get it then through blood transfusion.
Childhood immunization. After then, your lifestyle. Some people who take cocaine, they smoke, they should stop taking those things because it will affect their health.
Dr. Nwal advised that people should ensure detailed information of drug prescription before dispensing. In Port Harcourt, Ijoma Ogweke, NTA News.
The federal government's input to ensure food sufficiency in the country and to meet the Millennium Development Goals on zero hunger received a boost as the dry season famine was flagged off by management of Cross River State River Basin Development Authority in Abuja local government area of Cross River State. Oba Hyacinth reports.
The federal government, led by President Muhammadu BUHARI, has been dogged in its determination to ensure food sufficiency through huge investment in the agriculture sector. And one of the agencies driving the policy is the Cross River Basin Development Authority. The managing director of the authority, Basim Person, says the Federal Minister of Water Resources and his organization are providing enabling environment and tools at subsidized rate for farmers to boost productivity, hence the provision of the tractor and other irrigation materials.
What we have done now is to create serious awareness for our people that they don't have to go to sleep, they don't have to change their profession when it comes to a season like this, and that the federal government, like everything that we've had here, is for their own use.
We are excited, having this right in Abuja.
The flag of broad management of Cross River Basin Development Authority, the chairman, supervisor of Abuja LGA and councillors, farmers to interface while strategizing on the way forward. Oba Hyacinth, NTA News.
And that does it from Port Harcourt. Nationwide, we continue right after the break with Frama in Jos. Good evening.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview UK channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.uk, app for iOS or Android. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
The broadcast media ecosystem is dynamic and requires continuous training for practitioners to perform optimally. NTA TV College Jos invites relevant officers to the following specially packaged training programs. Transmitter operation and maintenance. Date 1st November to 5th November 2021. 1 week. Photojournalism and photography. Date 8th November to 26th November 2021. 3 weeks. Advanced broadcast accounting and auditing. Date 22nd November to 3rd December 2021. 2 weeks. The course fee for the 3-week course is 130,000 naira per participant, while the fee for the 2-week course and 1-week engineering course is 100,000 naira only per participant, accommodation inclusive. The venue for all courses is the serene and secure environment of NTA TV College near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. For more inquiries, please call 0803-314-43830 or 0806-980-9807. NTA TV College, Jos, training you to be the best you want to be.
This is Nationwide. We're glad to have you join us here in Jos. In continuation of its efforts to lay a solid foundation that will impact the citizens, Plateau State Government has inaugurated a steering committee for the State Agenda 2050 towards driving this goal. While inaugurating the Committee for Long-Term Development Plan to be carried out in conjunction with the United Nations Development Program in Jos, Governor Simon Lalong charges members to ensure they deliver on the goals guiding sustainable development. Caleb Gochin reports that the steering committee is chaired by the Deputy Governor of the state, Professor Sonny Tioden.
By this development, Plateau State Government is keying into the vision of the federal government in developing a sustainable development plan, Agenda 2050, towards lifting millions of Nigerians out of poverty. 17 members comprising relevant stakeholders from the government, traditional institution, and civil society groups are to develop a blueprint for the economic and social well-being of the citizens. Governor Simon Lalong says the Plateau State Agenda 2050 will not only build upon the gains of the current Plateau State Development Strategy, but take the state to the top 3 in the country with respect to socio-economic development.
The Plateau State in the past played a key role in sustaining the Nigerian economy with the tin and columbine from her mines for several decades before the advent of oil in this country. I make bold to say that we can do it again, as those resources are still available in abundance. Besides, we have human resources and talents in various fields that we are ready to offer the world.
Representative of the UNDP office in Abuja, who spoke via Zoom, says the partnership is essentially to help achieve the sustainable development goals and appreciates Plateau State Government for keying into the program. Chairman of the committee, Professor Sonny Tioden, pledges commitment of members to operate based on best global practices that will turn around the fortunes of the state. In Jos, Caleb Gochin, NTA News.
To improve the standard of learning in schools, the federal government, through the National Social Investment Program, NSIP, has provided ICT gadgets to primary and post-primary schools in Plateau State. This is to equip pupils and students with basic knowledge on information gathering with modern technology. Felicia Dalib Samaila brings us details.
In a rapidly changing world, computer education is essential for people to access and apply information. To this end, Government Secondary School Laranto and Obasanjo Model Primary School, selected as pilot schools for the introduction of computer education in the states, were given 41 computers with solar system. Handing over the ICT center to the respective schools, State Focal Person National Social Investment Program, Dr. Sumaye Hamza, restates federal government's commitment towards ensuring computer proficiency in primary and post-primary schools.
These things are there so that these children, instead of going to register their JAM, for example, in the business center, they can now do their JAM registration and CBT in the school.
Plateau State, being the only one selected as a pilot among the North Central states, is appreciative of this intervention.
This is a new world for the students in the school and the state as a whole, and I believe the students will take advantage of it.
For the students, it is a step in the right direction.
We are so happy for what they've provided for us, and I intend to learn more than I know now.
In Jos, Felicia Dalio Samaila, NTA News.
And that's it from Jos. Nationwide continues with Ruth in Abuja.
Thank you, Frama. Governor Samuel Otom has clamped down on some illegal revenue collectors in certain parts of Benue State. Charles Abba reports.
Some illegal revenue collectors made their Waterloo at Abinsi along Boko-Makudi Road. Governor Samuel Otom caught them red-handed on his way back from Jatuaka. The governor, who described the act as antithetical, said it shortchanges the state government of internally generated revenue, thus hampering development.
And I'm going to sanction management of DRS. Look at what is happening. These people that were here alone, they collected more than 20,000 from them, and no receipt. These are the criminals that we're struggling with. I'm going to go out myself henceforth. From Makudi to Alede to Tupo, I'm going out myself. Since the people we have recruited cannot do it, I will apprehend them and deal with them.
He said one of the 4 arrested operators is a staff of the Benue State Revenue Service, DIRS. The governor explained that the apprehended operators would face the wrath of the law, while BIRS will be investigated. Charles Abba, NTA News.
All right, let's bring you sports update.
Reactions have continued to trail the performance of Nigeria Professional Football League teams at the continental stage. Enyimba International FC whipped Senegal's Diambas 3-0 on Sunday in the CAF Confederation Cup, while Rivers United lost 1-0 to Sudan's Al Hilal in the CAF Champions League. Both teams will now play in the CAF Confederation Cup playoffs.
We got an impressive 4-0 aggregate win. A good one for them and for the new coach, Philippe George, who is new at the club, as a matter of fact. On the other hand, for Rivers United, unfortunately, they couldn't make it to the group stage of the CAF Champions League.
In chess, President, Nigeria Chess Federation, Deputy Inspector General of Police Sani Muhammad, retired, has called on well-meaning Nigerians to support the growth of the game in the country by organizing grassroots tournaments. Muhammad stated this Sunday at the 3rd edition of the Abuja Chess Tournament, where Sacha Onya emerged champion after 3 days of competition.
I worked hard, put in a lot of work, and in the end, I'm very grateful for today.
We decided to link the bridge together to make sure people understand the importance of chess, especially in youth.
It's a paradigm shift. We want to encourage clubs, individuals to get horsey right for tournaments.
In tennis, unvaccinated tennis stars will be allowed in the Australian Open, but will have to go through 2 weeks of hard quarantine and regular testing. This is according to a letter distributed to WTA players. Australian minister had said unvaccinated players will not enter the country, but WTA Players Council says all competitors will be able to go to Melbourne in January. With sports updates, Tamara Ebiwe, NTA News.
We're done. Thank you for your company. Let's keep the fight on against rape and rapists. I'm Ruth Aguele. Bye.